It is time for the Speaker and the MAGA Republicans to stop the brinksmanship and act to prevent default. It is Congress's constitutional obligation to act, not hold the full faith and credit of the United States hostage unless we allow them to make cuts to programs hardworking Americans rely upon. Threatening to default and crash the economy unless the president agrees with Speaker McCarthy's entire agenda isn't just unreasonable, it's dangerous. This is not an issue that we will negotiate on. It makes a series of deeply devastating and unpopular cuts to things like veterans' health benefits. There is no constituency in this nation that supports threatening to kill millions of jobs unless the VA is gutted, except apparently extreme MAGA Republicans, House Republicans to be even more specific. Their bill would cut 81,000 jobs from the VA, reducing outpatient visits by 30 million, and increase the disability claims backlog by an estimated 134,000. More than 24 veterans organizations publicly pleaded with House Republicans to protect veterans from general budget cuts. Republicans refused. Republicans made last-minute changes to protect special interests, but they refused to include veterans in those protections. Sadly, Republicans are now attacking the very veterans group who raised alarm bells about these draconian cuts to the programs veterans and families rely on. And we have said over and over again this past week that we were analyzing what they put forth, and we've been very clear and also criticizing their budget, as I did at the top here. But now after a couple of days, the president reached out, and after analyzing what they put forth, and the president's going to have a meeting with them next week.
But if he's not willing to negotiate, what is this meeting? Like, what is he coming to the table with? And does he see this as a conversation that's only about the debt ceiling, and then there's a separate meeting later that's about the budget? Or when Kevin McCarthy comes and wants to talk about all of it, what are the mechanics of this meeting? And can you do those two things at the same time over the coming weeks?
Sorry, I was trying to wait to see where the question was going to end. I apologize, my bad. Yeah. Look, he's going to make it very clear in this meeting that they're going to have next week how it is Congress's constitutional duty to act. He is not going to negotiate on the debt ceiling. Been very clear. That is not going to change. Now, I have said, as I said from the top here, that he's willing to have a separate conversation about their spending, what they want to do with the budget, how they see the appropriations process moving forward, what they see with their spending, as we've seen from this vision plan that they put forward on April 19th, as I stated. So look, he's going to continue to make very clear that this is up to Congress to act when it comes to the debt ceiling. This is a question for them. What are you going to do, and how are you going to let the American people know that you're not going to hold the American economy hostage?
But when you say a separate conversation, is that, again, only after the debt ceiling is raised, or is he going to have that separate conversation on May 9th at the same time when they're all sitting at the table together next week?
So look, the president's going to make it clear to them how it is not that they have to avoid a default. It is their constitutional duty for Congress to do this. It is their constitutional duty to the American people for them to do their job. And he will also say, we will have a conversation about the budget and appropriations. And that is something that he will be very clear about. We can have a conversation about that, but it is important to not default. We are not a deadbeat nation, as you heard directly from the president just yesterday in the Rose Garden. He's going to be really clear about this. We have been able to do this, make sure that we pay our debt as a nation for the past several decades. And so the president's going to continue to make that clear. He's going to bring them here, have that conversation, and we certainly will have more to share as we get closer. And that is something, again, that the president has been very clear with his economic team as they've moved forward with this process. What I'm going to say is we've been very clear, and that's what the president is going to continue to make clear. I have to be very, very clear here. We've always been very clear about that. But again, I just have to say this very clearly. We've been very clear, and that is something that we've been very, very clear about and very repetitive about, as you know, from here. We've been very clear about that, and our position is going to be very clear. What we will be very clear about is that and our position hasn't changed, right? Congress needs to avoid a default. And we're going to be very clear. It is going to be important for the president to make clear to Speaker McCarthy and also to MAGA Republicans, as we have been for the past several months. We've been very clear. The president said yesterday, we are not a deadbeat nation. I'm going to sound like a broken record as I have been for the past several months. Congress must act. We will not entertain scenarios where Congress compromises the full faith and credit of the United States.